Alright folks, quick video on the consequences of young children and even infants being raised on a vegetarian or vegan diet. So I have here a printout of an article by one Nathan Kovnes from this year actually. And Kovnes looked at a quite wide variety of scientific data on the consequences of vegan diets and vegetarian diets, especially in childhood. So I'll just go quickly through this article. There's quite a lot that I have underlined and put huge exclamation marks next to, so bear with me. The first thing that really caught my eye was that vegetarian mothers, pregnant women, have a hugely lessened proportion of male boys, as opposed to female boys, male children. It says here that vegetarians were 23% less likely to give birth to a boy. Now think about it. This means that all these vegetarians that are propping up everywhere essentially have a quarter less of a chance of giving birth to a male child. And perhaps it's for the best, because, that child would be subjected to left-wing propaganda and whatever. Maybe that's harder for boys to tolerate. So, 23% less likely to give birth to a boy. Excellent news. Next, what have we here? They did a study on Kenyan children, and of course all Kenyan children are pretty malnourished, but they fed some of them meat, and others got milk and eggs. And what they found here was that meat ended up approximately 0.65 standard deviations higher than milk, corresponding to a difference of around 10 IQ points. So the kids who got meat were 10 IQ points smarter. That's a lot in terms of IQ. And keep in mind that the others were actually fed milk and eggs. They weren't fed a purely vegan diet, which would of course be even more deleterious in its effects. And for those carnivores who still want to drink milk and eat eggs, as I do, there's some interesting stuff here too. It says that the high casein and calcium content of milk may interfere with iron absorption, which is essential for optimum cognitive performance. Right, next. Problem that all kids, or many kids, have acne. I had it. I suffered, shame because of my face, and as you can see, my face is pretty much unblemished now. Says here, acne appears to be absent in populations that have not adopted a Western diet. There are some examples from isolated island tribes, for instance, who don't consume dairy or alcohol, and a negligible amount of cereals, sugar and salt, all of which probably you should not eat. Some other tribes here, and the interesting thing is that they looked like a tribe of, 1,200 people. None of them had any acne. So 1,200 people, you would expect that to, just as a statistical fluke, you would have a couple of people there with some comedones or something. Zero. So acne is probably not, as the idiot conventional wisdom says, part of puberty, and it's just the hormones. Fuck off. Next we get to phytoestrogens. Phytoestrogens, particularly isoflavones, are found in high concentrations in legumes and especially in soy. And what does this nice stuff do to us? It says here that in rodent studies they have found that these phytoestrogens interfere with those brain regions that are sexually dimorphic. So, soy boys, right? I mean, this stuff isn't fiction. Like, soy boys are a real thing. Paul Joseph Watson made a good video on the soy face, like the exaggerated, like excited faces of soy boys. That this is actually he cited some research correlated with low testosterone levels. So yeah, no soy, especially for children. And legumes and again particularly soy also are high in phytate, which inhibits the absorption of minerals including iron and zinc. And again, this just makes you stupid. Iron deficiency in infancy leads to impaired processing speed, affect learning and memory, and this might be irreversible. Right. Now, a bit about eggs. They really don't have much bad to say about eggs, just that it's like suboptimal, which is what carnivores already know. Eggs are like a side dish, but meat is real thing, and seafood. Yada yada yada. Vitamin B12. Everybody knows that one. And it says here that if you become vegetarian, essentially it says that more intelligent people are more likely to become vegetarians because they know what's going on in the world, environmental damage, whatever, empathy for the animals. But when they go on the vegetarian diet, they actually get stupider. So their fluid intelligence goes down. Crystallized intelligence, which is basically your memories, the stuff you've learned until you went vegetarian, stays like the same, but you become dumber in learning new things. So, please, dear vegans and vegetarians, if you want to fuck up your own health, by all means, but please don't experiment on your children. Please don't experiment on your cats and dogs, who are also carnivores like us. And please, please, please subscribe to my channel, of course. Thanks very much.